Don don de don don de don don de don 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 de don don de don don de don. Calling all sisters and brothers of love, calling all nations and angels above. Calling all sisters and brothers of love, calling all nations and angels above. Oh, 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 hey, hey, yeah, oh, oh, oh. Oh, 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 hey, hey, yeah, oh, oh, oh. Let us rise, 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 like a phoenix from the fire, and we will fly, 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 higher and higher and higher, and we will stand, 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 in solidarity for this sacred land, and we will lead, 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 with compassion for all humanity. Oh, 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 hey, hey, yeah, oh, oh, oh. Oh, 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 hey, hey, yeah, oh, oh, oh. And we will pray, 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 for love to show the blessed way. And we will hear, 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 the truth that leads us out of fear. And we will really choose to see those we perceive to be our enemy. And we will be set free with the light that shines in you and me. Oh, 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 hey, hey, yeah, oh, oh, oh. Oh, 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 hey, hey, yeah, oh, oh, oh. And we will choose to heal the pain we feel, and we will rise above, 'cause we are warriors of love. Oh, 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 hey, hey, yeah, oh, oh, oh. Oh, 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 hey, hey, yeah, oh, oh, oh. Oh, 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 hey, hey, yeah, oh, oh, oh. Oh, 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 hey, hey, yeah, oh, oh, oh.
Greetings, I'm Reverend Deborah Johnson, and welcome to Inner Light Ministries Sunday Gathering. Wherever it is that you are in the world, we are so grateful to be sharing this time with you. Wherever it is that you are in the world, know that right where you are is a living sanctuary, because you are there, and everywhere that you stand is indeed a holy ground. At Inner Light Ministries, we come together because we have a vision. We have a vision of a world that's spiritually fulfilling, environmentally sustainable, and socially just. We come here to do the deep inner work that's necessary to make certain that this is available to everyone. We come here to do the deep inner work so that we are prepared to do the work in the external environment as well. You need both. You need deep inner grounding, and we need to be social change advocates. Both. If you're just doing inner work and you're not standing up for what needs to change and what needs to transform, like we used to say back in the Pentecostal church, that somebody's so heavenly bound, they ain't no earthly good. And if all we're doing is out there in the streets and we're fighting, we're trying to make things happen, and we're not spiritually grounded, then inevitably you become what you don't forgive. you become what you don't forgive. And it just becomes a vicious cycle of the same old thing over and over again. So we're here to break through to the next levels of our higher evolution. That's why we're here. And in fact, to do it together. And speaking of this, as we are right now in the global COVID-19 pandemic, which is part of the reason why this program is being brought to you in this format and not down in our sanctuary, which we're hoping to be back in very shortly as things are starting to open up. Continue to wear your face coverings. I cannot say that enough. The vaccines are rolling out, and we are very, very grateful and happy for that. But let's not get cavalier. The projections are that by the end of May, beginning of June, there will be enough vaccines for all adult Americans. However, that doesn't necessarily mean that everybody will be vaccinated or will even choose to be vaccinated. But we're getting closer and closer. We're getting closer and closer. It's the springtime. People got cabin fever. I get it. You want to get out there and you want to hug and you want to play and you want to get together. Just continue to do the things that we know work. The social distancing, the not being in large crowds, wearing the face masks. Because newsflash, I don't want to break anybody's bubble here, but the vaccine does not prevent you from either getting it or spreading it. Okay? It just makes sure that if it manifests in you, you stand a greater chance of not dying from it. But when you pull up and they give you that shot, they're not testing you to see if you're COVID positive or not. That's not what they're doing. You could have had it when you got vaccinated. We still don't know. Okay, so just because you're vaccinated doesn't mean you can't spread it, and it doesn't mean that you are immune from catching it. It just means that you've got a fighting chance of not dying from this thing. So hang in there just a little bit longer. Okay, our theme this month is abundance. We always do these activations. They're not just affirmations, but they are concepts, ideas, actually frequencies that when we activate them within ourselves, it does something to us so that we can align with our highest purpose, so that we can actually embody the things that we're talking about. So we can embody them. Our theme this month is no limits to our greatness. And I would like to share the affirmative activations for this week with you, which you can also find on our website and find in our social media. I invite you to read it along with me right now. No limits to our greatness. There's no limit to the greatness that humanity can become. There's enough room for everyone to fulfill their purpose. We are blessed by the magnificence of each other's lives. We enhance one another with our radiance. Rejoicing in sufficiency, we celebrate all needs met. We are portals of peace, purveyors of prosperity. We create opportunities for one another and open knocking doors. We celebrate in each other's bounty and good fortune. We mirror to each other the best of what is possible. To bring forth the beloved community, we live simply so that all may simply live. Invite you to just breathe that in. And every week, the affirmations are exactly 100 words. I want to invite you to our Zoom watch party. As we are on this platform right now, there are individuals who are in a Zoom party. You can join them at any time. They're going to be screen sharing the message that I'm giving right now. At the completion of that, we're going to get together and we're going to be singing. Our musical inspiration today is Gina Renee and Million7. They are local to the Santa Cruz area, but have a worldwide spread in terms of their music, their composing, their artistry. They're going to help us get our praise on. We'll have an opportunity to get together in small breakout groups, and you can talk to one another. You can find out about other opportunities and things that are going on. We're just going to keep the party rolling. So you can join now. You can join after I get through speaking. I'm going to jump over there and be with them. So hope to see you there. Also, at any particular time, feel free to make a donation. You can give. You can make a contribution. You can do it right now online, and that'll be up and available whenever it is that you're feeling so moved. Let's just take a breath. Take a breath. This idea of there are no limits to our greatness. Our theme is abundance. Abundance. No limits. You know, there's only one thing that ever needs to be healed. And it's just a sense of separation. That's all that it ever is. It isn't even really real. Whether we feel separate from our good, separate from our wealth, our health, our love, other people, our creativity. You could even feel separate from your own self. But it's just a sense of separation. And here's what I know about abundance. Like all spiritual qualities, it is who we are. It's not something to chase after. It's our spiritual DNA that's up for us to recognize, activate, and fully express. Abundance is not something external that we can chase after. Abundance is not a number. It's not a quantity. It is a qualitative way of being. Abundance isn't a number. Abundance is an experience. I love the way that my spirit definitions put it. These beautiful definitions, they're part of these downloads that I get. They're always a formula, and the spiritual qualities describe the definitions describe the spiritual qualities as energetic fields within us. We are verbs. We are verbs. It describes what it is that we bring to the table, what it is that's already here that we're just simply missing, and what we need to do to bring the two together to actually fully experience the spiritual quality that we already are. It defines abundance this way. It says abundance is where your identity resides in my completeness. Just think about that for a moment. Abundance is where your identity resides in the divine completeness. Where your identity resides there. See, whenever it feels like we're lacking abundance, it's translated something like this. There's not enough. I don't have enough. I am not enough. I don't have it. It's not there. I don't have it. I'm not it. That kind of trajectory that's there. And unless you understand abundance as your identity, there's not a big enough quantity in the world to make you feel abundant. Let's let that sink in for a moment. Abundance happens at the level of your identity. How do you see yourself? The only thing that ever needs to be healed is just the sense of separation. we start to feel like we are not abundant when we're not feeling complete. When we're not feeling complete. So when we're not feeling complete, most of us aren't turning within for that sense of completion. We're turning without for that sense of completion. We're looking at what seems to be missing. Maybe it's something economic. Maybe it's something relational. Maybe it's something in my personal creative expression or some goal or unrequited dream that I've always wanted to have. So in our minds, we make this thing that we think is missing pivotal. We make this thing that we think is missing definitive. It's like, if I can only get it, oh, then I'll be abundant. No. Most of us are locked into this kind of, I'll believe it when I see it. It's the other way around. You see it and you believe it. So if we ask ourselves for a moment, if my identity is not residing in the completeness of the universe, where does my identity reside? Think about that for a moment. Where does your identity live? If it's not living in completeness, then what is it living in? And how true can that be? How true can it be? We experience all kinds of things, but that doesn't mean that it's us. We're human beings going through a human experience. The real answer to abundance is not just trying to get more. It's a sense of being more. Let that sink in for a moment. The real trick to feeling abundant is knowing there's nothing wrong with you. You're not a mistake. You're not some accident. You didn't mess up so big that things can never be right. Life has not passed you by. The universe isn't favoring more people than it's favoring you. There's nothing missing. And quite frankly, there's nothing extra or extraneous about you that you have to get rid of before you can be the abundant. Your nature is perfect, whole, and complete. That's who you are. You are made in the image and the likeness of the divine. That's who you are. So can you imagine if you were walking around in the world now, believing that? If you were walking around in the world with this idea that I am part of the great I am, then my inner being is perfect, whole, and complete. I don't have to apologize for anything. That's not to be confused that you don't have to make amends. Yeah, we need to clean up our messes. But you don't have to apologize for you. For you, you're not your stuff. You're not what's happened to you. You're not what's done to you. We are more than this. There are no limits to our greatness. No matter how much you've done, no matter how much you have accomplished, there's no ceiling. There's no ceiling. glass or otherwise. This is Women's History Month, glass or otherwise. There is nothing out there that's saying you can only have this much or not more. There is nothing relegating you to some kind of ghettoized consciousness. There is nothing that is restricting you from your highest creative expression. There is nothing out there that is squashing you or keeping you down. I don't care what the political forces are. I don't care what the past has been. It doesn't limit the you now, here. Yeah, we need to clean that stuff up. And yeah, we need to do what we can to try to remove the blocks and the obstacles. But the blocks and the obstacles don't restrain you. They don't confine you. They don't define you. They just make the route a little less scenic. They just made the journey a little bit harder. But it starts with the awareness of you. We just got through with Black History Month last month in February. We're in Women's History Month now. You see it when you believe it. The great icons of the social justice movements, they weren't walking around feeling like they were not enough, waiting for somebody to validate them. That's not what they were doing. That underneath it, they knew and they knew that they were equal. And that's where they stood. All of a sudden, I'm thinking about Rosa Parks. Contrary to popular belief, Rosa Parks didn't just get on the bus one day and her feet hurt. Rosa Parks was a strategist. She was a secretary with the NAACP. She was deliberately chosen because she was so upright. She was so forthright. She was a good citizen. She was a good Christian woman. There was nothing in her background whatsoever that anybody could tie to her. And what the practice was on the segregated buses is that there would be a line. And basically the white people got to sit in front of that, and the black people got to sit behind that. But as the buses kept getting filled up and more white people wanted to get on, that line kept moving. That line kept moving. So let's just say white people had half the bus, and if more of them came on, then the black folks who were in that half had to move back. So then the white people took up whatever, 2/3, 3/4, and they kept moving the black people further and further behind, even though they were in their spot. That's what happened to Rosa Parks. Rosa Parks was sitting in her designated spot. And she was asked to get up from the spot that was hers. It was hers when she got on the bus. But as more white people got on the bus, the spot where she was got redefined as belonging to somebody else. And she was supposed to give it up and let somebody else have it. And she strategically, the whole movement strategically drew a line and said, no, no, there's room enough for all of us on this bus. And we're not going to keep giving up what we have so that other people with another identity than ours can take over that which was at least already ours. that whole system had been set up, not understanding the greatness of all of us. That system had been set up, not respecting the fact that each and every one of us is equal in the eyes of God. It was set up to impress upon the consciousness that there are some people who deserve more and other people who deserve less, and that everybody was to collude in that to keep that false narrative going. What false narratives are you colluding with? What false narratives are you colluding with? So that even when you think you're sitting in like your seat, you're busy giving it up because you think somebody or something else is coming in and pushing you even out of that. Where our identity resides in abundance, resides in the enoughness. This is an inside job. Resides in the completeness. So rather than just chase after people, places, and things, spend that time with yourself, healing the false narrative within yourself that says there's some reason why not you. No. Throughout this whole month, we're going to be shifting our identity so that we reside in completeness. So it's why not me? Why not me? Why not me? You know, in fact, I've got a spoken word piece by Wilhelmina, my alter ego, that I'm going to bring forth before the end of the month as she explains this. Why not me? Let that be your attitude. Why not me? In this piece, she escalates. She goes from why not me? To kind of, well, why not me? And then she ends up with, why not me? And that evolution is the evolution that we're going to go on this month. And I invite you to go on that with me. Just take a breath. And to remind you once again that we would love to see you in our Zoom watch party that's going on right now. I'm going to be hopping over to that very soon. Our musical inspiration that's going to help us get our groove and our praise on is a wonderful, wonderful duo, Gina Renee and Million7. They bring us a wonderful vibe of hip hop and reggae and funk and R&B, and it's just absolutely wonderful. I'm sure that you will enjoy that. Please partake of that with us. We also invite you at this moment in time to make a contribution to support what supports you. We are inviting you to get online. You know, right now there are buttons, donate buttons, exactly where it is that you are. You can text us, you can send it to paypal.me/Innerlight Ministries. And I say thank you to all of you who have continued to send in your gifts, your offerings, your tithes. It really makes a difference in helping us to do what we do best, to take this consciousness and multiply it. See you in the Zoom party.